The topic for today's discussion, and by the way, today is the sixth and the final webinar of the IMS managed ACB series that we have been hosting for, well, maybe close to 3 months now. During today's webinar, we will get into the details of how our customers can leverage the power of automation through the use of Ansible playbooks developed by us. And these playbooks can actually help one's task easier by helping one migrate easily from the traditional DBDLIB, ACBLIB environment to the IMS managed ACBs environment. This part of the webinar will be conducted by Yogesh and Rohan. I'll hand it over to them soon. But before doing that, once Rohan and Yogesh are done with their presentation, we will have a short, well, not really a short, maybe 15 or 20 minutes Q&A panel discussion where there will be a host of BMC experts sitting in the panel, in the virtual panel, and we will help address specific questions from the audience, right, about the IMS catalog, IMS managed ACBs, or for that matter, any questions that the audience might have for us, and want us answer those questions. So the panel will be ready to answer some of the questions. If we are not able to get to any questions, be rest assured, we'll definitely get back to you, over an email. I will hand it over to Yogesh, maybe. Yogesh, would you like to take it forward from here?
Thank you, Subhashish. So, welcome all to today's session. The topic is, as Subhashish mentioned, migration to IMS managed ACBs using Ansible automation. So we were working on this idea from last year. As everyone is aware that migrating to managed ACB is a hot topic, and IBM is also recommending that from starting from summer of 2025, they are recommending their customers that they should migrate to managed ACBs, and same to BMC customers that we should migrate to managed ACBs soon next year. Yeah, for that we thought about this idea, and we have implemented this idea so that as you know, migrating to managed ACBs manually takes time because we have to manually submit many jobs, then making IMS up and down multiple times, and it's critical process, and also we can make some mistakes in that process. So this automation makes it very easy, and it makes very time saving as well. See one by one how it was implemented. We will see the demo as well and what are the advantages of this automation. Okay, Rohan, can you please move to next slide, please? So myself, Yogesh Darekar, I'm from backup and recovery team from BMC. I'm working as QA, and Rohan, my colleague, he's QA from database utilities team. So we have covered overview of IMS managed ACBs multiple times in our previous sessions, but just to have overview again. As you know, in traditional process, we have to chain PSBs and DBDs and then ACB, generate ACBs, and then populate it to catalog. But we have a shortcut where we can directly do it using DDL as well. Once you do commit through DDL, then we can directly generate control blocks runtime, and that's the advantage of having managed ACBs. And the staging directory dataset stores ACBs that are pending for activation, while the active ACB datasets have the system datasets that are automatically managed by IMS. The bootstrap dataset basically contains the information about the directory datasets. Apart from that, this migration can be of like different types. So let's say the customer may have catalog already enabled, and they want to migrate it to managed ACBs, but they have catalog which is already enabled. the some customer might want to create IMS catalog with IMS managed ACBs. So there are different types of migrations depending on the inputs from customers. So we have designed migrations such that user can input their variables to our input file, and accordingly the migration will happen. So if customer want to enable IMS catalog, they can just make that flag as Y, or if they want to existing use existing IMS catalog, they can use or give details about existing catalog as well. So as I said earlier, this migration is a bit complicated, the complicated migration efforts, and then we have many IMS customer environments like pre-prod or test or integration or even production. And then we have heavy reliance on DB expertise. So we don't have to, or IMS expertise as well. So we don't have to rely on those skill sets as well. So this Ansible migration makes it easy to migrate it to managed ACBs, because it is just one click, and the whole setup would done for you from non-managed ACBs to managed ACBs. So the proposed solution is automated execution, where we are making use of IMS powered Ansible playbooks for migration, easy installation without any technical expertise. So we will see in the demo how you can use Ansible playbooks, and how this needs to be installed and execute our playbooks. So it would be covered by Rohan in next few minutes. Then standardized configuration, where you can pass your IMS parameters in your configuration file and run the playbooks. So whatever the configuration file we provide, so in that configuration file, you need to provide all your inputs which are required. So maybe your IMS details or address spaces details. So those in particular nomenclature, and then it would be replaced in Ansible playbooks, and Ansible playbook would be executed. So whatever the required parameters which are needed for Ansible playbooks would be provided in the one configuration file, and all your Ansible playbooks would use that configuration file, and it would get executed. It would, whatever we do to execute the manual jobs to migrate it to managed ACBs, so all those processes would be done by Ansible. So submitting those jobs or updating proclibs, DFSDF proclib member, or shutting down IMS, or making IMS region up. So all those things would be taken care by IMS playbooks. Then handling errors, we are also implementing handling of errors in case of anything is not worked in Ansible playbooks. Then we have procedures to handle those errors, or roll back whatever is executed. Then validation, where we are ensuring that whatever playbooks are executed, and once our migration is done, then we are checking whether migration is actually done successfully or not by running our IMS product utility. And also we are checking some strings, or we understand that whether our IMS is up with catalog or not. And we also populate all the databases to our IMS catalog. So benefits and value propositions. So as I said earlier, it saves a lot of DB and IMS expert efforts as well, controlled by automation, and it also streamlines migration process, and it also reduces errors, because to do this migration manually, it takes a lot of efforts. And if we understand, if it is only one environment, then it may take like 3 to 4 hours, or maybe more than that, if we stuck somewhere to one of the job, and some kind of error. And if there are multiple environments, let's say 10 or 15 environments, and then it may take a lot of time. But this migration will take only 20 to 30 minutes, and you don't have to manage anything, because it will give you a report as well, that your migration is successful with all steps as well, like which steps it has performed. Then faster migrations achieved migration in minutes rather than hours or days, enhancing user experience with simplified plug and play migration process. Then minimizing errors as there is no manual intervention. So these are the benefits of implementing this automation. So how Ansible works? So Ansible works by connecting to your nodes and pushing out small programs called Ansible models to them. Ansible then execute these modules over SSH and then removes them when finished. So as shown in the diagram, so Ansible, as you can see, there is Ansible control node, and there is a playbook and inventory file. So inventory file has all your host details. The playbook has all your playbook details, like it has different plays, and once your playbook is executed, it would be executed on your different host. So your playbook can be executed on multiple hosts or one host, depending on the configuration which you provide, Ansible configuration file. So Ansible control node, it can be on your Linux machine, or it can be on your Windows machine, but preferably it should run on your Linux machine. And then it would execute your playbooks on your host, and the migration would be done on your host to migration to managed ACBs on the host which you want. Those you need to configure on your Ansible configuration file. And once it is done, it would be done using your playbook file, and inventory details will have all your host details. So you can run your playbook file on your different host at the same time, or single host as well, depending on your configuration, what you need. So this is the simple playbook structure. Each playbook has, as I said earlier, is a collection of one or more plays, and play has different tasks, and then calls different modules, and models are part of collections. So these collections, basically the Red Hat Ansible certified content, which is provided by IBM, which provides this wide range of Ansible collection that enables development and operations automation on mainframe or ZOS. There can be more than one play inside a playbook, and the function of play is to map set of instruction which is defined against a particular host. So this is how the play is defined, and playbook is defined, and how it runs on your host environment. Yeah, from here I think Rohan will take over, and he will explain how we have designed our playbook, and then he will go to demo as well.
Thank you, Yogesh. Thanks, Yogesh, for covering the details. And then now we'll see the main playbook structure. We'll be executing only main playbook to carry out this conversion. We can see in this diagram, this is our main playbook. Input to this main playbook will be our ACB-managed IMS, that is the traditional IMS. So all its parameters will be supplying to this main playbook, and main playbook only will be executed. So when we execute this main playbook, all the sub playbooks, all the tasks will get executed, which are shown in this diagram in this dotted box. So tasks like shutting down IMS, then cleaning up catalog related data sets, allocating those catalog related data sets, copying catalog related DBDs and PSBs, then performing ACB gen, then registering catalog objects to DBRC for recovery control, then DFS DF related some DFS DF proc related changes. So all these tasks which are shown in this diagram in this sequence will be executed. Then in between, taking image copy of the catalog related databases, restarting IMS in between, populating catalog with all the DBDs and PSBs that we have in our environment. And then at the end, we run our product utilities to confirm whether conversion to managed ACB is successful or not. So at the end of this main playbook, we are going to get our IMS converted to managed ACB environment, and then catalogs enabled in it. So we'll see about this at a practical level in the demo part of this presentation. So let's move to the demo. Okay, we'll go through the demo recordings. So we'll start. So this is my IMS. So TXO4 is my IMS, which is currently up, and this is a traditional IMS, the ACB managed one. So we saw all its address spaces were up. So this is my Linux machine where I'm executing my Ansible playbooks. I kept all my playbooks or sub playbooks in this managed ACB folder, MACB1, and will be executing only this main YAML playbook. So we can see here in main YAML, we have included all the sub playbooks like shutting down IMS, cleaning up dataset related playbook, then allocating catalog related datasets, allocating index VSAMs for HALDB, that's catalog HALDB, then copying catalog related DBDs, PSBs, performing DBRC registration for those catalog objects, uh, then taking image copy in between. So all those tasks which I showed in the previous slide are included over here in the form of sub playbooks. So we'll move ahead. So we'll be executing only main playbook, main.yaml. So how we execute our main playbook, we can see over here. This is my Linux machine. We pass our TSO ID over here. We provide command like Ansible playbook. We provide its path where it is kept. Like I kept my playbook in playbooks folder and my MACB folder. And then you hit an enter button. So playbook execution will start. So first sub playbook in this main playbook is nothing but shutting down IMS. We can see all address spaces are being brought down over here through this playbook. So this is how any Ansible playbook for Z is written. Like you provide name of your playbook here, like shutting down IMS. You provide hosts where you want this playbook to run. So currently we are executing our playbook on this IMS ALPAR. What collections we are including over here, so that we provide here. So we include ZOS core and ZOS IMS collections. Then we provide VARs file over here. You will get to know what the use of this VARs file in subsequent video frames. And then we execute this task over here. So you provide your task, like what task you want to execute is stopping IMS Connect, stopping ODBM, stopping Delta Plus, then shutting down IMS with the help of checkpoint freeze command. And then likewise, we bring down all the address spaces. So we can see here a module being used for, let's say, stopping the IMS Connect. What module I'm using is ZOS operator. From which collection I'm using this ZOS operator is from ZOS core, which we included in the top. So this is how you write your playbooks and execute those. So let's move it now. So here for bringing down IMS, I provide freeze command, and then one by one address spaces will be brought down. So here we can see in the background the progress of the playbook execution. We can see here shutting down is in progress, and on the mainframe side also we can see all address spaces are brought down as part of the shutting down activity. So after we shut down the IMS, we move to the next playbook, like cleaning up catalog related data sets if they are already existing. This is like an optional playbook. If anybody wants to clean up their existing catalog related data set, they can do so. And then allocate fresh data sets. And that was allocating directory data sets, which is currently on the screen, highlighted one. So this is allocate catalog related data sets. So here I'm using ZOS underscore dataset module from ZOS core. This is the important point to note. And what catalog related datasets I'm creating, we can see a staging, then BSDS, then directory datasets. We can see here I'm providing all the attributes over here for those specific datasets and so on. And the collections we are using here, ZOS core, ZOS IMS. Yeah, one thing to notice over here is we are providing just high-level qualifiers of our datasets. These are nothing but variables. We can see here DFS underscore IMS HLQ group. And yeah, same thing are provided in the name part of this task in front of these dataset names. So where are these variables defined? These variables are defined in vars YAML, and we are including that vars YAML over here under this vars underscore files. Okay, let's move it. So all required dataset for catalog we are creating over here. And after that, we are submitting one job to create catalog related index VSAMs like primary index, secondary index, and then ILDS datasets. So we are submitting job to create those indexes. Because we were facing some technical issues in those days with earlier releases of collections. So only we submitted job to carry out creation of catalog related datasets, catalog related index datasets. Now here in the next step, I'm copying catalog related DBDs and PSBs from latest IMS release into our IMS environment. So this is the GOS copy step, which copies all these DBDs and PSBs. What PSBs and DBDs you want to copy, you can provide in this loop part. All the PSBs provided over here, and here we at line 18 we can see the DBDs, catalog DBDs are provided here. So this is copying DBDs and PSBs. We can see here interesting module being used, GOS copy from GOS core. Where's file is included and all the variables are being used here. Value for variables we can see in the subsequent video frames. So after copying DVDs and PSBs, let's go to the where's file, and which is the heart of all this execution you need to remember. So this is how I define the where's file. We can also call it as a configuration file. So all the variables which are being used in the playbooks are defined over here with its respective values. So for IMS, we can see here TX of 4 IMS, then SCI, OM, RM, and then DLP, ODBM icon. So all the variables are defined over here along with the dataset high-level qualifiers, HLQs. So all variables you define over here and use this where's file in your playbook. Okay, so we can see the progress now for copying DBDs and PSBs. And then now we move to the ACB gen part of this playbook progress. So we'll be performing ACB gen for all the catalog related DVDs and PSBs that we copied in the previous step. So this is ACB gen process. So here we see we are using now module is IMS underscore ACB underscore gen, from where it is being used from GOS IMS collection. So all those collections are included. We pass the PSB names over here in the list. We provide PSBLIB, DBDLIB, ACBLIB, and all the restlib and steplibs. So we'll continue with this execution. We'll see its progress. So this is the ACB gen part. So after ACB gen is performed, we need to register all the DBDs to the DBRC of your for recovery control. So we can see here delete and init DBRC statements over here. Delete DB, init DB, and list DB. So we are registering all the catalog related DBDs to DBRC over here. The module again specifically created for these processes and being used over here is IMS underscore DBRC, which is being used from GOS underscore IMS. Again, collections are included at the top, where's file is included over here. And yeah, interestingly, we can see here recons also supplied. Yeah, so this is the catalog registration to DBRC. So after registering catalogs to DBRC, we'll move to the next step. So so here we'll be doing some DFSDF proc related changes. So initially we'll keep catalog flag to no, ACB management will keep to ACBLIB, and then we'll start the IMS, which was shut down initially. So we are starting IMS. So we are starting each and every address spaces one by one by providing required commands. We can see a GOS operator module being used from GOS core, where's file included. And for restarting IMS, we see IMS underscore command module is used from GOS underscore IMS collection. So we are starting IMS now, highlighting the cold start process command which we use for doing cold start. You can see icon start, then ODBM start, and delta plus start. So all respective address spaces are being brought down. We can see the progress here on my Linux terminal. Similar way, we can simultaneously monitor progress on mainframe as well. We can see all address spaces are brought up now, and we can see here cold start completed for IMS. So we are just testing with the traditional traditional ACB management if it is in place. After that, once IMS is up in a ACB managed mode, we'll be activating ACBs in that. So what we do over here is we submit one job and we load catalog related DBDs and PSBs in the catalog here. So then this is the initial activation of our ACBs in the catalog. To carry out this step, we submit a job. So we can see here one template. We are to submit while submitting job, we use template. So in template also, interestingly, we can refer the variables we have declared in the vars file. We can see here dataset HLQs being used in the double parenthesis. So this is how you can make use of variables. So we submit the job with managed ACBs equals to setup. Load catalog with catalog related DBDs and PSBs. So we perform initial activation. We can see job is executed and it demands taking image copy of catalog database. So after that, we'll be submitting image copy job. Take image copy of catalog related database. We can see in its progress on my terminal. Again, for submitting job, we use one template. So we will go through the template of image copy. Yeah, sure. After taking image copy, we brought down IMS once again. So let's go to the image copy related template, which was submitted through the job. Yeah, so we can see the variables referred here, and we are taking image copy of catalog dataset. So this job was submitted from the playbook. Yeah, once IMS was brought down, we need to now reconfigure our DFSDF proclib member. So we'll browse through the DFSDF proclib member now. I'm going to the IMS specific proclib and going to the DFSDF proclib member. So here we see that catalog flag is turned to Y, ACB management turned to catalog. So how we carried out this change will now refer to the respective playbook. We executed these DFSDF changes after IMS is up playbook. So let's navigate to DFSDF proclib changes related playbook. Yeah, over here we can see now I'm changing catalog flag to Y and ACB management to catalog over here. So this is what module I'm using over is ZOS line in file from ZOS core. So this is basically nothing but a PDS member edit. So to carry out edit, we write this playbook. Now as catalog flag is turned to Y, ACB management turned to catalog. So now we are ready to restart IMS again and get IMS converted to managed ACB environment. So let's see progress of IMS on our mainframe side. Okay, on control node on Linux machine, it's showing the progress. We can see its progress on mainframe side as well. One by one, all address spaces are being brought up. Yeah, all address spaces are up. Now we'll go to IMS and we'll see. So here we can see catalog prefix is now displayed, and then cold start is completed. So we can say now managed ACB conversion is completed. We need to run. We need to perform some validations in the end. So we'll see that. So after IMS is made up, now IMS is converted to managed ACB environment. We need to populate all the DBDs and PSBs that we have in our catalog, in our DBDLIBs and PSBLIBs. So we submitted catalog populate job, and then we submitted SIU related product utility job to confirm whether conversion to managed ACB is successful or not. So we can see catalog populated job is successful. We can see import command, all DBDs and PSBs are now populated in the catalog. We can monitor the job log over here. After that, I executed the secondary index utility product job to confirm whether conversion to managed ACB is whether successful or not. So we can see these messages on my screen over here. Like if these messages are coming in the jobs pool, like BMC utility is running under IMS-managed ACBs and then open both successful for directory HLQ, then we can say the conversion to managed ACB is successful. So now how we carried out this verification at Ansible end. We'll now browse through the Ansible side. So here we can see the things coming in green are nothing but response of my job submission. These are JSON in JSON format. So all these responses I captured and perform validation. Whether if I get required string, then I can print message SI run managed ACB conversion looking good. So same way, if anybody wants to add any more validation verification, they can add into this part. They can customize as per their requirement. Now let's see what playbook I executed to carry out this confirmation is the test SIU. So here I capture result of job. Like I submitted test SIU Y job from one PDS, one library, and the output of the job is captured in the result variable. And in result variable, I am just searching whether I get my required string or not. If I get this BMC utility running under IMS managed ACBs message, then I can say, yeah, conversion to managed ACB is successful. So that was the last playbook of this main playbook structure. And yeah, we can say now conversion to managed ACB is successful. I think that's it from our end from demo part. We can switch back to the slides part. Yeah, demonstration is completed. Yeah, thank you. Any questions, any discussions, any feedback? Let's go ahead. Thank you.
Hey, thank you, Yogesh. Thanks, Rohan. Yogesh and Rohan are our Ansible experts, in-house Ansible experts. So you can definitely take advantage of them as long as they are here today to answer all the questions that you might have. Yeah, I see a question from Ronaldo. Is there a different playbook for those systems which already have IMS catalog activated?
Yeah,
No.
I think there will not be any ready-made stuff, I feel, but we can use the IBM provided control blocks for Ansible, and we can try to achieve our purpose. So that's how we also implemented this proof of concept. Like we took a problem statement, we referred internet, we referred IBM documentation, and we tried to implement this proof of concept to convert IMS to managed ACB environment. So if you want to achieve any purpose, then we need to write our own playbooks by referring IBM provided modules and
So Rohan,
connections.
obviously moving to IMS managed DCB is a two-step process. One is the catalog movement
Yes.
and then directories. So if we can skip that part where we, first migrate to catalog and then directly execute that part where we are converting to directory, I think that will take care of this scenario, right?
Yes.
Yeah, some part of it can be used.
Some of your initial playbooks, right? Some of your initial sub playbooks under the main playbook were basically for activating the catalog, right? Now,
Right.
the question is the catalog is already activated in the system, right? So, is
Mhm.
there a different playbook? So, I think my answer would be there isn't a necessity of a different playbook here. It's just that we might have to comment out the execution
Some
of some of the
customization
initial
in this.
steps.
Some
Yeah,
initial part and the
right.
secondary part we can use.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So that's what means as per their need, they can customize it and use. If any additional
Yeah.
thing they anyone wants to write, they can also include.
And that makes sense because I think a lot of customers by now they have already moved to catalog. So the
And
only
Right.
step remaining is to move to
yeah,
directories.
yeah, and Anshul, even our work is in progress, and we are making different migration playbooks as well. So that if customer has different scenarios, let's say they have IMS catalog already, then they don't need I mean the catalog which needs to be created, and all those playbooks can be skipped. So as you said right now, so those can be skipped and other playbooks can be executed for that part. So
Right.
yeah, that can
Right.
be done. And also apart from that, one update is recently IBM had released playbook which can execute DDL as well. So I'm not sure if they have any plan to have any playbook which is exclusively for like managed ACB or something like that, but I don't think so. But right now, earlier the DDL were not supported in Ansible playbooks, but recently they have released in their recent Ansible release, they support DDL as well.
Yeah, but Yogesh and Rohan, it's good that
Yeah,
this question came up, right? I mean, and
yeah,
we
yeah.
appreciate all these questions coming up because
Yes.
remember when we built this playbook, we had we just had our internal BMC mainframe environment in our mind, right? And we build these playbooks keeping that particular scenario or that particular environment in mind. Now, these questions coming up is important because we have a perspective of how things are working in the customer's environment also too,
Right.
right?
Right.
So Yogesh and Rohan, my request would be, and this is a good point that Anshul also brought up, right? I mean, some of the customers could already by now have their IMS catalog set up and activated in their system. So they would probably not be interested in executing all the steps in the playbook. Rather, they would just be focusing on activating the IMS managed ACB portion, right? So can we just tweak this initial playbook into two different use cases? The first use case is obviously, handling the catalog activation and then also the activation of the IMS managed ACB environment, and then maybe tweak the playbook for the second case, right? The question that was asked, considering the fact that customers already have the catalog activated in their environment, then how can the customer tweak this particular, or we can provide a tweaked playbook which can just cater to uh, activating the IMS managed ACB environment, right?
Yes, we can do
Yeah,
that.
Subhash. And probably
Yeah.
we need to provide more customization in terms of, because every customer environment is different, right? Some customer
Yeah.
might be 10-way data sharing and using only single catalog and single directory. Some might be using multiple catalogs and multiple directories. So obviously the configuration
Yeah.
differs little bit.
Right.
Yeah, multiple
Uh,
partitions also they can
Yeah.
have.
yeah.
It might vary
Yeah. I
from
think.
customer to customer.
Yeah. I think looking at the demo, one of the definite customization that comes to my mind, which we can probably put into the play inside the playbook, is you guys are defining are probably using a set of started tasks, right? That you want to bring up and then you want to bring down, right? So there are two sub playbooks, which probably one playbook brings up a host of started tasks, and then there is another playbook which brings down the IMS and the related started tasks, right? So we need to provide the customization ability to the customer, wherein they can choose which started tasks they want to uh, you know bring up and bring down, right? Rather than probably a hard coded list of started tasks. That is probably one customization that we can probably provide, if we do not already do that. uh, y- y- you understand what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, we can provide that. We can
Right.
start working
For
on that.
example, I
Hmm.
saw that, I probably saw that, if I'm right, you were dealing with the Delta Plus started task, right? Now, some of our customers might not be using Delta Plus, right? Or they might not be using Energizer for IMS Connect, right? So there is a definite need of customization requirement, at least in those two sub playbooks.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. And also the last IVP, right? Installation verification procedure playbook. You
Hmm.
are executing SIU, which is basically secondary index utility. That is one of
Yes.
our, for those of you who are not familiar with that utility, it's an offering on our database utilities product area, right? Now, is there a more generic way to verify whether IMS managed ACBs has been enabled, because as you can understand, not all customers might be using SIU, right?
I think there are messages which comes in the control region which will
Yeah, we are
tell.
working
Ra-
on that. We consider that as one of the improvement, and yeah, we are
Yeah,
just
yeah.
figuring out what all verifications we can further add into this.
Perfect, perfect, perfect.
Yeah,
Yeah,
some generic checks,
yeah.
whatever we can do. Yeah, that's we are into the design phase for now. We are identifying what all things we can include over here in the verification. Yeah, we can include that.
Yeah, no, that's basically a comment. So he's saying that some installations use SA, system automation, or similar type of mechanisms to manage their system, right? So they will probably use the same way they are doing today to bring down and up IMS. Yeah, that's also a good point, right? I mean, that's also a consideration that we ought to make, right? I mean, they are probably not going to change the way they are going. They're using to bring up their started tasks and bring them down, right? So probably they would like to skip those two sub playbooks in that scenario.
Correct. Those things which are not required can be commented. Yeah, yeah. What I wanted to say, like what we learned while implementing these playbooks, Ansible is kind of a scripting language, and it is mainly used for automating the configuration related tasks. Like if you have, let's say, multiple libraries, and in those libraries you have so many members, you want to update a few of them based on the, yeah, as per your need, as per your requirement. So that kind of mass change and all this kind of configuration you can carry out with the help of Ansible. So adding more dynamics and more customization, we are still working on that. So what currently I have learned from this is things which are not required, we can try commenting. Things which you want to change, we can do customization directly into those scripts and try making those runs. Initially, it will take it will face some challenges, but things once are set, they can be easily run. Like the scripts we have in Rex, Silis, so same way I think we can do. Just an insight or things, the experience that we learned till now in these last 6 months. Thought to share over here.
Yeah. So as I understand, Rohan and Yogesh,
Mm.
these playbooks cannot be a foolproof solution, right? There has to be some
To be,
customizations according
yeah,
to,
needs.
the needs, right? I mean, we cannot provide here is it, just push the button and get the job done. That's probably not possible because, every customer shop is different.
Yeah,
There is some customization that probably has to go, you know,
right,
and the hope, although for the customer would be, they probably understand that they would have to make some customizations. The hope for the customers is that customization is probably not too difficult, right? I mean,
right,
it should be easy enough so that they can just make it and be able to run it, right? I
right,
think
right.
that's what our
That's
customers are
the
hoping.
target.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
So Rohan and Yogesh, my question was, if I am a customer and I want to try out these playbooks from BMC, how should I go about it for converting my systems at the customer site?
If we don't have these playbooks, you are saying?
Yeah.
Okay, then I think traditional approach would be better, which is suggested by IBM, or the IBM recommended approach.
So my question was, means how we will
Hmm.
distribute this, customized playbooks to customers so they can try at their shops for their IMS systems. Question, right?
Yeah, the playbooks.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Anshul, they should have one Ansible control node. I mean, Ansible should be installed on one of their Linux machine. So from where they can run this playbook, and this playbooks, I mean, this needs to be customized according to their IMS environment. So how their IMS catalog is, or how they want to define it. So accordingly, we can make those changes as per uh, catalog they want to create, or managed ACB environment they want to have. So if they have any test environment, then we can, as per their nomenclature and as per their catalog database requirement, we can create our or customize our playbooks, and we can give it to them. They can definitely test it on their test environment.
So yeah,
Yeah.
Shogis, that's the intention of
Yeah.
asking these questions. If some customer is willing to work with us, so we can help
Yeah.
them,
They
customize
might,
this as per their.
I think they
Yeah.
might also need some infrastructure thing like ZOAU,
Yeah,
ZOpen,
right.
yeah, automation utilities installed on their ZOS
Yeah.
side, and then Python, I think.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
the expectation is, I mean, if the customer has to execute this environment, this playbook, or maybe a set of playbooks, the expectation is Ansible is already up and running on their infrastructure, right? I mean, that's
Mm.
probably a prerequisite to all of
Yeah.
this, right? I mean, yeah. So that's probably what we are expecting, anyways, right? I mean,
Yeah. ZOAU, I think it comes with
Hmm.
OS itself, but I think that they needs definitely need Ansible and Python. So once
yeah.
they have it, they can definitely run playbooks on that particular node, and they can hit it on host environment and execute our playbooks on their host environment.
And plus they would also need to ensure that they are able to SSH to their Ansible host, right? That's
Yeah.
also a requirement. They should be able to SSH to the
Correct.
Ansible host. Yeah.
Correct. That configuration
Right.
they have
Right.
to
I,
make.
I think
Yeah.
Anshul, the expectation is all those prerequisites are met, you know, and that is something that the system administrator, right? The ZOS system administrator or the system admin, whatever the role is,
Right.
probably would be responsible for.
Correct.
But
SSH actually takes care of the connection between your Linux control node and ZOS managed node. So
yeah,
SSH establishes that connection, like how we provide our TSO ID and password while logging in into mainframe. So those credentials we need to set up through that SSH. So once that
well,
SSH connectivity is established, I think we are good to go ahead with Ansible playbooks.
well. Yogesh and Rohan, I was thinking of another question. I mean, one of the main points that we're trying to convey through this webinar is uh, that hey, you use these playbooks, your conversion to IMS managed ACBs process will be much simpler, as compared to if you do it traditionally, right? Um,
Yeah.
Now, my question was, have we done some internal, eh, statistics collection as to, uh, because we have, both the environments running in our systems, right? So have we done some sort of, testing as to what the effort is without the use of these Ansible playbooks, and how the effort gets drastically reduced when we actually use these playbooks? Have we done any sort of internal, you know um,
Yeah, we
measurements
carried
on
it
on
out.
on that? Okay.
Yeah, we
Okay.
we captured those metrics, and I
Okay.
think Yogesh mentioned around like for one IMS conversion, it took around 25 to 30 minutes for us for our test IMS to convert from ACB managed environment to managed ACB1. And if we thought to do it manually, it was taking around 2-3 hours minimum.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair
Now,
enough.
if we can implement, if we can multiply this number to the number of IMSs which needs
Mhm.
migration, then yeah, we can save a lot of efforts.
Okay. Okay. So around 2.5 to 3 hours, as against just maybe a 30 minutes,
Right,
right?
right.
Okay.
Again, I think it will be based on the scalability of the existing environment, the
Right.
number of
Right.
yeah, objects they have, and how much time it takes to copy the DBDs and PSBs in the actual environment.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just a
Yeah,
rough
that's a
estimate.
general,
Yeah.
general,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
ballpark estimation we can say.
and
Yep.
manually doing it
Initial
will have a chance of making some errors and mistakes,
mistakes.
and that will
Yeah,
multiply the time.
yeah, yeah. And that you sometimes we observed used to happen. Through this initial setup and testing only took some time, but then onwards we started using these playbooks only to convert our IMSs to managed ACB environment.
Go ahead.
One advantage is here we just have to click once we trigger our playbook execution, main playbook execution, then we don't have to uh, look into it, because Once it does all the migration activities, we can just once migration is completed, then we can, after a half an hour, we can just see the logs, whether our migration is successfully completed or not. But in case of manual migration, we have to do that activity continuously for 3 hours. Here we just need to execute playbook for, let's say, for 2 3 seconds, and that's it. We can do our another work and then check after half an hour whether it is done or not.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't see any more questions regarding, catalog or IMS managed ACBs. So Anshul, I know that you had pre-compiled
I
a
have
list of,
pre-submitted questions.
yeah,
Yeah,
a few of our, generic questions from our customers, maybe, some of the more common ones, right? Would you like to
right.
take those maybe?
Yeah, I think if we have few minutes, we can do that. Maybe at least two
Yeah.
questions.
Right.
Okay. Okay, so I'll have one question. So this was pre-submitted. So how will customers' procedure be impacted after transitioning to IMS managed DCP, especially regarding database level schema changes? If we have to just compare and contrast how the life of a DBA will change, when we compare how we used to make changes before and after conversion to managed DCPs. So if someone on the SME panel can answer this, I think that.
Yeah, Anshul, I think I can talk from in general from at least from the fastpath databases perspective that once you are into a managed ACP environment, right? If we are making database level changes, obviously the way we used to work under ACBLIB environment was that in general there used to be two libraries, right? One is your existing ACBLIB and one is your new ACBLIB, right? Whenever you are making a changes to a database, we would have two versions of it. For example, if I talk about our, let's say, our unload and reload utilities in fastpath, new definitions in unload, and we expect it to create an unload file which reload reads and process. So one of the major changes will be that since you don't have multiple ACB lives in your managed ACB environment, you have to stage your new database new changes or your new database in the staging directory. I'll not talk about all the utilities, but in general, any new definition we'll read from the staging directory, and we expect that your old definitions will be obviously in the active directory. So obviously, until DDL becomes mandatory, we can always do the traditional gen process, have your changes first, move to the catalog environment, then you run import and have it basically get into the staging directory and run your utility. The new definitions will be read from the staging directory and the old definition will fetch from the active directory. At a very higher level, this is how things will work. And if that's what you're expecting as a question, as an answer.
Yeah, thanks Aditya for the answer. So one more question I got from one user was, obviously in a classical environment, user has always have the flexibility of doing the DBD gen, PHB gen, and ACB gen in some kind of temporary ACB life, and then play around with the changes, and if required, make some tweaks and do the gens again, try out changes again. But in the newer world, when everything will be managed ACB, there are two directories, right? Staging directory and active directory. And staging directory is pretty much constant from the IMS standpoint, and all the users have to use the same staging directory. So from the flexibility perspective, do you think that will help? Because in the old environment, a user was having more flexibility in terms of using any temporary ACB live, but now it's a pretty standard staging uh, library for a directory from IMS standpoint. So if any one of you can, provide your feedback, what is your thought process on that?
Okay, Anshul, I can go at it again. I mean, but just wanted to check once that your question is specific to the flexibility we can achieve, which was there in the ACBLIB environment, right?
Yeah, I
How
mean,
can we achieve
in
that
the
in the
ACB lab
managed ACB
environment, you
environment?
don't really need to put anything in the IMS specific libraries until you are confident
Right,
the change is good. But in newer
right, right.
world, you have to stage your changes, and then it creates a entry in the catalog, and later on, if you try out things 10 times, it creates 10 different entries, which later needs to be purged. So
Right.
it means user
Yeah.
is losing that flexibility, right? So what's your take on that change? Because that's a big change from
Yeah.
the way things are done today and things will be done in the future.
Right. So yeah, I totally agree. We in the ACBLIB or in the earlier traditional environment, we have that flexibility to manually provide your any different ACBLIB in which you might have your original database. You might be playing around with the database. You might want that your database definition should be read and not the ones which are already there in the in IMS. For example, again, I'll talk with respect to the fastpath databases because I belong to that team. For example, when we talk about online utilities, the way they work is basically we call IMS and IMS provide us with the information it is in the IMS, right? We don't really make any changes to that. We don't play around with that. But this flexibility is certainly needed when you are running any offline utility, any of the offline utility. So basically, for example, in the fastpath team, we have certain keywords. For example, you can specify if you want to read from the staging directory or from the active directory. And then there is a default behavior utility. So any offline utility, let's say I want to run fastpath analyzer product, right? So if I want to run analyzer in offline, it will by default, it will go and it will read whatever is there in the active directory because that's where you want to read your definitions from. But let's say you have a different version of the database in the staging directory, and a customer might need that. They don't want the analyzer to only read the definitions in the active directory, but to read from the staging directory. So we have certain keywords where you can override the default behavior and can have the utility read from that particular directory. So that flexibility is not getting lost. It's just that you might have to make yourself aware of those any new keyword a particular product might have and use that to attain the same flexibility you were having earlier. So all those changes I know our team has done, and I know the other teams has also worked on those. So yeah, you can achieve those using those special keywords basically.
Thanks, Aditya. I think that those changes are expected to come in the next few
Yes.
releases, and
Yes.
that will provide some level of flexibility.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
thanks. Okay, so Subhashish, do we have more time, or because I have several questions?
No, I think we are 5 minutes above time, so I think we should have.
Yeah.
We need to respect. No, so we
Yeah.
scheduled it just
And
for an
Subhashish,
hour.
what I'm
Yeah.
thinking is maybe I'll take all those pre-submitted questions and get the answers from the SMEs, and we can create an FAQ doc and
Exactly.
we'll
Yeah.
share with
Yeah.
everyone.
That will be helpful. A central place to refer to. Okay, so I don't see any other questions. So and as we have been saying, during all the webinars, if you have any questions, you know how to reach out to us. So please feel free to reach out to us whenever you have to, and we'll try our best to help you out. So having said that, I think we have been able to successfully conclude all the 6 webinars in the IMS managed ACB series that we had set out, I guess 2.5 months before. So I'd like to, on behalf of BMC, we'd like to thank all our customers who have joined us over these period of the past 2.5 months. And we sincerely hope that all of these webinars were useful to you all, right? I think these webinars, we hope that these webinars provided some value to you. And you enjoyed attending these webinars as much as we enjoyed, putting all these webinars in for our valued customers. So having said that, I think we conclude this session, this series. Uh, Probably will come up with some series later. But for now, we are concluding this series. Thanks everyone for attending today's webinar and for being an attendee for the past 5 webinars as well. So thank you all. Bye for now.
Thank you, Subhashish. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.